A violent gang war between two rival groups in Inanda, north of Durban, has tragically claimed the life of a young man and forced the closure of J.G. Zuma High School. And weekend classes there, we are told, have been cancelled as well as a precaution to protect learners and teachers amid escalating tensions. And Muzi Mahlambi to give us more details about how this gang violence translates into the school premises and the effects that it has then on learning and teaching. Muzi, good afternoon. Thank you for your time.
Afternoon to your listeners.
Let us just unpack this particular situation in this particular school, J.G. Zuma High School. What exactly unfolded there? What do you know?
This was not the only school that was affected. If you speak of that school, it's one of the schools that is doing very well in terms of academic performance. Over a decade, they've been obtaining 100%. So it's a school that we are not worried when they're disturbed for one day, and when they say they've got a recovery plan, we know what is it that they're talking about. But this will be one of the social ills that we are dealing with in that kind of an area. That is why when we launched the protocols, safety school protocols, after the Minister of Police and Minister of Education had signed that protocol, we started in the area of Inanda because that's where these kind of problems are rife. And before that, you have heard over the news that even the provincial police were dealing heavily with that area. Unfortunately, some of these gangsters are school-going boys, and the school becomes the scene of act. That's where they converge, and then they continue with what they will have started outside the school. So, which then disturbs the schooling in some of the schools in the area. So we had gathered information that on Friday there was going to be disturbance. So some of the schools decided to take a precautionary measure to request parents to keep their children at home, and they suspended the Saturday classes. But this morning, the schooling resumed in that area. So we're monitoring the situation. We are working together with police in order to keep peace in that area. This will not only affect schools, but it will affect the livelihood of the general livelihood in the area. Be it the households that are around that area. The issue of gangsterism affects everyone in the area. But we are mostly affected because we are biggest convergence in terms of children converging in one area at the same time.
And you speak about J.G. Zuma and the department not being too concerned when they do miss a day or so of schooling because they've done so well in their results and in their education space. But the issue, of course, Muzi, becomes then the other schools that don't do so well, that are affected by this violence in Inanda. What are some of the recovery plans that are then planned for schools such as those in that Inanda area where violence disrupts learning and teaching?
Over the weekend, there was an online meeting with the school's principal together with our circuit management and some advisors to craft the way forward as to how they were going to be assisted. But in that meeting, most of the schools, more especially high schools, reported that they were about to finish their syllabus because we normally give them a target of finishing the curriculum coverage in end of August. They were saying that they were on track, but obviously, if there were not these disturbances, stop and go, they would have done far better than the other years. But we are very much hopeful, and we have confidence in what was discussed over the weekend in terms of how those schools are going to be assisted.
And then moving forward, of course, the work that you're doing with the police department. Like you mentioned, the school safety protocol was introduced and brought to Inanda. How is that relationship like with the police together with the Department of Education? Are you still continuing with things like the raids?
We are going to continue with the raids. We have identified some of the hotspots in terms of the areas and the particular schools where there is concentration of these gangsters. We will be doing some announced session seizures now and then. We are going to be very busy until we win the battle.
I like to hear that, Muzi. Thank you so much for your time. Truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
Muzi Mahlambi, KZN Education spokesperson, speaking to us about the relationship that they have with the department, as the Department of Education and the South African Police Service, following the gang violence that erupts in that area of Inanda and often interrupting learning and schooling.